whenever you want to have a conversation with friends, I recommend you just bring a band along with you to set you up for the day. So that was really awesome, guys. They're probably not back there anymore. But anyway, 2 weeks ago, my 19-year-old daughter, she went on a road trip with her best friend to the popular vacation destination of Louisville, Kentucky. So it seems like it really wasn't that long ago that my husband Tony had to convince me that it was safe for her to go to camp, and now she lives on her own? What? And she drives 6 hours to go to a concert with a friend. Okay, this is a whole new world, and I have no idea how we ended up here. But a few days before she left, as the responsible mom that I am, I sent her a text and I said, "Hey, sweetie, what hotel are you staying in?" Because I like to have my kids do things for themselves. So I let her book her own hotel room. She lives by herself. She's fine. So she texted me, she said, yeah, I found a hotel that fits our budget, and I read the reviews. It's totally fine. I said, great. So the next day, the first thing I did was get online and see what hotel my daughter has booked. This is the hotel that she thought was appropriate for she and her best friend, both of which are in college, to stay in by themselves. These are life skills that I did not teach my child, obviously. But Mary Beth and Hallie, they had a great time. I mean, road trips are just way more fun with a friend. Not that we would let her go by herself, but I don't know who would want to go by themselves anyway. Thankfully, the whole time they were gone, I could stalk her on my phone. It was great because really we have more access to each other than we've ever had before. My son Davis is 16. He's had his driver's license for 6 months, and Life 360 is saving my life right now because I can really stalk him. Like Mary Beth is just find my friends stalking, but Davis is Life 360 stalking. I can see what route he took to get where he's going. I could see how fast he was driving. I could see if he used his phone while he was driving. It's fantastic. And when he speeds, I can text him when he gets there and tell him, if you go over the speed limit, I'm taking your car for 2 weeks. It works really well. So anyway, I absolutely love technology, and it's not just great for stalking your children. I can stalk my friends too, because now we have Facebook Live, and I can see what my friends are doing in the moment that they're experiencing. It's really kind of creepy, but, and it's not just our friends. We can stalk people who we don't even know. We have an inside look into the lives of people that we will never even meet. So we have more access to each other than we've ever had before. But access to is not the same as connection with. The very thing that we have in our hands at all times, instead of connecting us, is actually separating us. I know for me, instead of my phone being a tool that helps me stay connected, it's become a barrier that's keeping me from connection. I am more distracted and I am less intentional with my time, especially when I'm with my family. But here's the thing. People realize this like 20 years ago, so I know I'm not the only one. See, researchers coined this term, internet paradox, to describe this contradiction between an increased opportunity for connection and a lack of human contact. So believe it or not, social isolation is the public health risk of our time. Yes, I said social isolation is the public health risk. I did not believe that when I read it. I thought, surely the junk food that I'm eating or the exercise that I'm not getting has a bigger impact on the length of my life than my friendships do. But here's what the research says. If you live with air pollution, the odds of you dying early increase by 5%. Okay, that's negligible. If you live with obesity, the odds of you dying early increase by 20%. But if you live with loneliness, the odds of you dying early increase by 45%. That's huge. And if you think about it, life is kind of like a road trip. And while we wouldn't even consider taking a fun road trip by ourselves, some of you might, we'll talk later, but we wouldn't consider taking a fun road trip by ourselves, but we're trying to do life by ourselves and it may be killing us. But the reality is we have tricked ourselves into thinking that all of this access to each other is the same as connection with each other. And it's just not. So we end up traveling alone. So I realized that Facebook and the internet did not exist when King Solomon was alive. Shocker. But Solomon is arguably the wisest person to ever live. And he actually had something to say about the importance of relationships. Solomon wrote the majority of the book of Proverbs, and he also wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. And this is what we call wisdom literature. So it's really good advice for a better life. So here's what he said in Ecclesiastes about relationships. He said, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Then he goes on and he says, likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm, but how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Now, when Solomon wrote this, everyone traveled on foot. So it wasn't a good idea to take a trip on your own. And Solomon gives us 3 reasons why relationships are really important and why friendship is important and why 2 are better than 1. So the first reason in verse 10, he says, if you fall, especially in the rocky terrain in the Middle East, you have someone there to help you. And then the next verse is just kind of weird to us, lying together to keep warm. Now, I know some of you have a joke in your head, but I'm just gonna move right past that, okay? But what we're talking about here, if people are traveling on a really long journey by foot, they're having to sleep outside in the harsh weather. So this is a matter of survival for them to help keep each other warm. And then during Solomon's time, the routes that they would take, some of them they were known to be super dangerous. And so if 2 people are traveling together, they are better able to defend themselves against a bad guy. So we can offer each other safety. Now, I realize we don't live in that context now, but what Solomon is saying, it really does apply to us. Solomon is telling us that we're better together than we are on our own. We can help each other, we can keep each other warm, and we can keep each other safe. So I think there's a question that we all need to be asking ourselves. Who will know when you need help, when you need warmth, and when you need to find safety? Life is like a road trip. And we were all created to share it with other people. So who are you taking with you on your road trip? I see this over and over again. People wait until they're on the trip, they get into an accident. They wait until they're lost or they're in trouble, and then they try to find their people. But by then, it's just too late. We need to prioritize relationships now so that when life happens, we're not traveling alone. And it's not about the difficult times either. It's also about the great times, because when we experience something that's worth celebrating, we should have people in our life to celebrate with. Ultimately, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. That is so important for us to understand. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. Notice I didn't say quantity though. I know you have 600 Facebook friends, but do your 600 Facebook friends, do they really know you? It's not the quantity of relationships that matters. It's the quality. It's the quality. So what are we gonna do? We need to identify the one thing that's getting in the way. And I know it's not your personality, because let me tell you, some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, ALYSIA, I bet you're an extrovert. And if I'm being honest, I am. Some of us are extroverts and some of us are introverts. But Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Whether you recharge by yourself or you recharge with other people, we were all created for meaningful connection with other people. So what's getting in the way of you having meaningful connection with others? For me, it really is my phone. So I need to start leaving my phone in the kitchen when I get home and not act like my response time is the value that I bring to other people. Or what if we leave our phones in the car when we go to dinner? I think we can make it through dinner without responding to a text message or checking Instagram. We will be fine. For some of you, it's the fact that you are planning another weekend to binge a series on Netflix all by yourself. But instead of binging by yourself, why don't you invite a friend over, watch a few episodes, watch a movie, and then have dinner and talk about it? For others of you, I know exactly what it is. It's Fortnite. And you think that's funny, and all the moms and all the wives in the room are saying, amen, sister, because we don't say amen in this church, but I will amen to that. You think that's funny, but it's really true. I know you're having fun, and I know you're playing with your friends, but when the screen time has replaced all of your FaceTime with each other, you are not building a relationship that is going to get you through the difficult times. So what's getting in the way? What is keeping you from connecting with the people in your life? Maybe the best thing we can do for our relationships is identifying that one thing. See, for me, this year was not the year for me to be finding my people. This was the year for me to depend on them. Because my daughter went off to college last year, and we had to figure out what a new normal looked like, where our family of 4 went to a daily family of 3. And it wasn't just hard for Tony and me, it was also hard for our son Davis, because thankfully, Davis and Mary Beth are really close. And he missed his sister. But I also think it's the fact that Davis now gets 100% of mom and dad's attention. So he liked having somebody else to share that with. But in the midst of all of that and us finding our new normal, my dad was overseas and suffered a heart attack. So getting him back here safely for his open heart surgery was just a little bit stressful. Thankfully, my dad is doing great. His surgery was awesome and he's recovering really well. And hi, Dad, because he's watching online. But I'm so thankful for my people because they didn't let me take this road trip by myself. They were the ones that I confided in. They're the ones who hold me accountable, and they're the ones who know me, really. They prioritize me and our relationship, and I am so thankful because my life, it really does depend on it, and your life depends on it too. Thank you.